So, in the spirit of lots of new things going on in my life recently, I figured why not try something like this, which I've never done before. But today we're basically just going to be making this right here, the architecture series Lego Eiffel Tower, and talking about life and what's been going on with me recently. The reason I originally got this particular set was because I actually had the opportunity to travel to Paris back in the summer of 2014. And I went with my mom and my grandma because my grandma was in the business of international house sitting, which is kind of a crazy industry to even exist, much less to be in. Honestly, not really sure how you get into that, but it gave us some pretty cool opportunities to see the world. And so, yeah, we basically watched over a townhome on the outskirts of Paris and got to go into the city for every day pretty much because there wasn't too many things that needed to be done around the house. And yeah, pretty crazy opportunity to have. And this is just sort of a little memory of that time. It wasn't something that I got while on the trip. It was a gift I got a little later down the line from my mom as a sort of a memory of the time we had, which was really nice. And now obviously it's something that I can still look back on to this day and find joy in and make memories from. Okay, so I forgot to show this earlier, but I finished up the base that the Eiffel Tower is actually going to sit on, and now we're working on the tower itself. And for those of you who are wondering, I'll show it later once everything is finished, but this is going to go on the shelf back there that you can kind of see. We've got a few other little Lego architecture things, and I'm planning on putting it right there next to that picture. I think it's going to look very nice there. Yeah, I've been in this apartment now for 3 weeks, and it's been a kind of a hectic time of trying to make the place feel homey and a welcoming place to want to come and relax after work, because this is the first apartment that I've ever lived in, and the first apartment I've ever lived in by myself. And yeah, I think it's been coming together really well. I feel like you can kind of get a feel for the vibe of the whole place by the background here, and maybe this is something I can show off the whole of at a later time. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it so far. I just recently graduated from college. I finished my undergrad degree, and that was here in the Midwest, so the area is not completely new to me. But yeah, I stayed in my school's dorms for all 4 years, which I think to a lot of people sounds kind of crazy. Even to friends I talk to that go to other schools or went to other schools, they think that's kind of a crazy concept. But for us, it wasn't super crazy. I feel like there was a decent amount of people who just stay in the dorms for all 4 years because we were required to for the first 3 years. So it's like 1 year, what's the point? At least that's the mentality that some people have. So yeah, this has been a completely new sort of feel for me, but it's one that I really like, and something I am definitely getting used to is, having your own space and your own kind of place to really make your own and to just sort of fully decompress in after a long day or a long week. So the reason I ended up kind of staying out here in the Midwest and not going back to Texas, well, spent summer in Texas with my family, but the reason I moved back out here formally is because I got a job in the city. I don't really feel like talking about too many specifics. That just feels kind of weird to me right now. But I'm working a corporate job in the city of Chicago, which is kind of a weird feeling, really. I mean, I was just a student a couple months ago, and now all of a sudden I'm like commuting to work every morning, and it's just sort of a funny feeling. I mean, I like it so far, honestly. I'm definitely someone who likes to have a bit of structure in their life, and I think that having a 9-to-5 job is something that is definitely going to give you that structure. I feel like I've done something wrong here because these pieces are supposed to be snapping into this, but they're like too high for it. So I think maybe I forgot to put something in here. Okay, so I definitely didn't put something in here that's supposed to be in it. It's just like a little square piece that's supposed to go right under like this rectangle or square. But I don't know where it is. And this is kind of one of the problems, I guess, with taking apart something that's been built before, is that everything is disorganized and could be lost somewhere. So I'm gonna take a few minutes and see if I can locate this piece. I just feel like there aren't enough pieces on this table for this to have gone missing or to be that hard to find. So I don't really know what happened to it. I'm not seeing, it's just one of these little like four dot pieces that seems to have gone missing. Found it. Turns out it was here. Okay, I think that goes there. And this goes here. And we're back on track now. All right, so now these should snap on there. Perfectly. I think the thing about starting work that I was most anxious for or unsure about was just kind of what it was going to be like working in an office and being around people, like more of the social aspect than the actual work part, because I don't know, I feel like so much of what you actually do at a job you kind of just have to learn on the job, because people that have been there for longer than you are going to know what's expected and they're going to teach you that, ideally. So yeah, I wasn't really sure what to expect from the people I would be working with, but everyone's been really, really nice to me. I think one of the perks for them is that with someone new being there, there's lots of opportunity to be like, oh, well, we need to get to know the new guy on the team, right? So we got to take him to lunch, and then we got to go to, get coffee, and we got to do all these things to get to know this person. So all of that gets to go on like the company card. So I think there's definitely an incentive for people to like be welcoming, at least at the place I'm at. But I don't get the feeling that it's like people are using me for that. I think everyone has genuinely been really nice and welcoming to me and like made an effort to get to know me, which I think is a really nice feeling, especially when you're moving to a new city where you don't really know people. So like that's definitely helped with the transition, is like being excited to go into work because you know that you're gonna get to be around nice people who are like just fun to be around. The team that I'm working directly with as well is a lot younger than I would have expected. Not to say it would have been bad to be working with older people, but Like a lot of my direct coworkers are in their like mostly mid, but like early to mid 20s, which I think is kind of helpful as someone who's like new to the professional world, because it kind of gives you a snapshot of to like what your life could look like if you're working here for 3 years or whatever, which I guess depending on your outlook on things could either be like very informative or potentially like scary thought to be like working a job for that long or being in the same place for so long. But you know, I think just on the surface it's kind of a benefit. It's kind of weird thinking about the fact that the first time I made this Eiffel Tower was in like 6th grade or something like that, and now I am not in any grade. I am done with school, and it's kind of a funny feeling because like you spend like your early school years like trying to prepare for the next school years, and eventually like you get to high school and then you're preparing for college, and then you get to college and you're preparing for like the next step, whatever that might be for you. And it's kind of weird to think about the fact that like I'm at that, like, not that this is the last step. I mean, I would like to think that I will have steps or progress at future points in my life, but it is kind of funny to think about like how different of a person I was and how different of a stage I was at while still doing the same pastime or hobby. It's kind of like cool in a way that regardless of where we're at or what's going on, you can always kind of fall back on these certain pastimes for, you know, a sense of comfort or just relaxation. Okay, so I think things are gonna start coming together a little bit more now. We've got 4 of these little leg things that are going to snap into the base, and in theory they should connect to the start of our tower. So we've got this right here, and then these little clippies should snap perfectly to our legs. It's kind of tricky, I feel like, because everything is sort of rotating and structural integrity relies on the other piece that is also moving. So, okay, there we go. Now that we've got a few in, it's starting to steady a bit. There we go. It's starting to look a little bit more like the Eiffel Tower, isn't it? I think that on the subject of like hobbies and coming back to pastimes, it's always kind of something I struggle with in terms of, you know, just moved to a new city and a very like vibrant city, but at the same time you're like battling the fact that you're a young professional who I don't got that much money right now, to be honest. I'm trying to like be smart, trying to save and to like make smart decisions, but at the same time you are like a young person living in a big city where you don't know too many people, and it's kind of hard to meet people if you don't go do things. It's kind of hard to do things if you're not spending money. So that's kind of what I'm going through right now. By no means is that the worst thing that anyone is experiencing on the planet right now, but it is sort of a funny cycle that I feel like you get caught in. Because I'm trying not to, you know, beat myself up too much about like spending money here and there if it's on reasonable things. If it means that I get to get out of my bubble and experiencing something, because ultimately that is one of the reasons you move to a city, right? Is to experience the city. That's not to say you have to go crazy and do a bunch of insane things, but like, I do try to remind myself that, if I didn't want to do something new or experience something new, I didn't have to look for jobs outside of where I grew up. I could have just gone home, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. And I think there are actually a lot of benefits and financial and other personal reasons to stay home or close to home. But if you aren't going to do that, then you should make that decision worthwhile, right? That's something I'm trying to remind myself as a person who is definitely capable of holding themselves up and not exploring. Yeah, that sounds bad. I feel like I am very capable of exploring, and I'm someone who loves to try new things and travel. But, I think that also means that with that, I like to appreciate being home as well. And there's a balance in all of that, and, I've only been living here 3 weeks. I'm sure that I will find that balance. Starting to look kind of cool. Okay, so now this goes right in here. I don't know about that sound. It's coming together. I think the last thing we have here is literally just a point. That wasn't so bad, was it? Apart from losing a piece and putting a few things in the wrong place, I think it was pretty smooth. So let's put it on the shelf. Okay, so I think we're just gonna stick it right there. Fills in that space right there a little bit better. And so yeah, here's a bit of a zoomed out look at the shelf now. I think that's come together very nicely. Yeah, I had a really nice time just putting that together and talking about life recently and life in the past as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me while I did that. And if that was something you enjoyed, maybe stick around and we'll do some more things like that. Thank you.